Hey there, it's TNG. Welcome to episode 9 of A Conversation. Today we meet one of the greatest philosophical thinkers of all time. Immanuel Kant was a German philosopher widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in Western philosophy. Kant was born in 1724 in Königsberg, which was part of Prussia, a powerful German state that played a central role in the Holy Roman Empire and later in the formation of Germany. At the time, Königsberg was a major cultural and intellectual hub within Prussia, and its population and culture were predominantly German. His work synthesized early modern rationalism and empiricism, creating a groundbreaking framework for understanding metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and aesthetics. There are two famous quotes with which many will be familiar. Firstly, sapere aude, dare to know, Kant's motto for the Enlightenment, urging individuals to use their reason without relying on external authority. The second quote, two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe, the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. Reflecting his reverence for both nature and ethics, his ideas shaped subsequent philosophical movements, including German idealism, existentialism, phenomenology, and analytic philosophy. So without further ado, let's meet today's simulated guest. Good day, Herr Kant. It's an honour to speak with you.
Guten Tag, TNG.
Could you begin by introducing yourself and your work?
I am Immanuel Kant, born in 1724 in Königsberg, Prussia. I spent most of my life studying, teaching, and writing about philosophy. My works attempt to address fundamental questions about human reason, morality, and aesthetics. You may know me from my critiques, Critique of Pure Reason, which investigates the limits and scope of human knowledge, Critique of Practical Reason, where I discuss ethics, and Critique of Judgment, which explores beauty and teleology. My goal has always been to reconcile the conflicting claims of rationalism and empiricism, and to establish a firm foundation for human knowledge and morality.
Fascinating. Let us delve into the nature of the universe. Do you believe we can fully comprehend the universe as it truly is?
Alas, we cannot. The universe, as it exists, independent of our perception, I call the noumenal, or the thing in itself. Human beings, however, can only access the phenomena, the world as it appears to us, because our minds impose certain structures, like space and time, onto our experiences. For example, space and time are not properties of the universe itself, but are the forms of our intuition. They shape how we perceive reality. Thus, while we can study the universe scientifically, our understanding will always be constrained by the limits of our cognitive faculties.
Does this mean science cannot uncover ultimate truths?
Science is a magnificent endeavor, and it provides knowledge about the phenomenal world, the world of appearances. It operates within the framework of causality, which is one of the a priori categories of understanding in our minds. However, ultimate truths about the noumenal world lie beyond the grasp of empirical science. The principles of science, though universal and necessary within the realm of phenomena, cannot describe the ultimate reality of things. This is why I emphasize the limits of reason. We must know what we cannot know.
What about life itself? Do you think human existence has inherent purpose or meaning?
Purpose in life arises from our capacity for practical reason, which allows us to act according to moral laws we freely legislate for ourselves. While the universe may not reveal an inherent purpose, we create purpose by adhering to the categorical imperative, to act in ways that could become universal laws, and respect the intrinsic dignity of all rational beings. Meaning, therefore, is not imposed by the external world, but is realized through our moral actions. This is how we fulfill our higher nature as rational and autonomous beings.
Fascinating. And what of God, or a creator? Do you believe in the existence of such a being?
My approach to this question is both philosophical and practical. In my critique of pure reason, I argue that the existence of God cannot be proven through theoretical reason alone. Traditional arguments for God, such as the ontological and cosmological proofs, fail to establish certainty because they overstep the limits of human knowledge. However, in my critique of practical reason, I suggest that the idea of God is a necessary postulate of practical reason. By this, I mean that belief in God provides a moral foundation for the world. For morality to have ultimate meaning, such as the hope that virtue will be rewarded and justice fulfilled, it is rational to posit a just and omnipotent being who ensures the alignment of happiness with moral worth. Thus, while I cannot claim knowledge of God's existence, I affirm faith as a rational necessity for moral beings.
So is faith a matter of necessity rather than evidence?
Precisely. Faith, for me, is not a matter of evidence or theoretical proof, but a rational commitment grounded in the needs of morality. It is a faith that complements reason, not a blind leap. Reason shows us the boundaries of what we can know, and within those boundaries faith allows us to aspire to the highest ideals of morality and purpose.
Your perspective is profound, Herr Kant. Your explanation of the noumenal world is intriguing. Could you elaborate on its nature and why we cannot access it?
Gladly. The noumenal world refers to things as they are in themselves, independent of our perception. It is the ultimate reality that underlies the world of appearances, the phenomenal world, which is the reality we experience. Our cognitive faculties impose certain conditions on our perceptions, such as space, time, and causality. These are not properties of the noumenal world, but rather the way our mind structures sensory input. Consequently, all human knowledge is confined to phenomena, and we can never directly experience or know the noumenal world. Imagine looking at the world through colored glasses. The glasses shape what you see, but they cannot show you what exists without them. Similarly, our minds color reality, and we cannot remove this filter.
Does this mean the noumenal world is completely unknowable?
In one sense, yes. We cannot have empirical or conceptual knowledge of the noumenal world because our senses and intellect are limited to phenomena. However, the noumenal world is not meaningless or irrelevant. It serves as the necessary ground for the appearances we experience. For instance, when we observe cause and effect, we know these are constructs of our understanding. Yet, we must assume there is something in the noumenal realm that gives rise to what we perceive as causality. Similarly, our moral sense points us toward ideas of freedom, God, and immortality, which belong to the noumenal domain.
If we cannot know the noumenal world, how can we assume it exists at all?
An excellent question. The noumenal world is a necessary hypothesis to make sense of our experiences. To experience phenomena, there must be something that exists independently of our perception. This something is the noumenon. Our ideas of morality, freedom, and the self make sense only if there is a reality beyond the deterministic world of phenomena. In this way, the noumenal world is not directly knowable, but it is indirectly posited by the very structure of our experiences and actions.
How does morality relate to the noumenal world?
Morality is one of the clearest bridges to the noumenal realm. In the phenomenal world, we observe deterministic laws. Everything seems bound by cause and effect. Yet, moral action requires freedom, the ability to choose and act according to principles rather than mere impulses. Freedom is a concept that cannot exist in the phenomenal realm because it defies causal determinism. Therefore, it belongs to the noumenal realm. When you act morally, you are expressing your true nature as a rational being, a being that transcends the phenomenal world and participates in the noumenal order.
Is freedom then proof of the noumenal world?
Freedom is not proof of the noumenal world, but it is a strong indicator of its existence. When we act according to the categorical imperative, we legislate moral laws for ourselves, independent of external forces. This autonomy is a hallmark of our noumenal nature. In the phenomenal world, you may appear as part of the chain of causality, but as a moral agent, you reveal your noumenal self, a being capable of rational and free action.
If the noumenal world is tied to freedom and morality, what role does it play in our understanding of God?
The concept of God is intimately connected to the noumenal realm. As I argue in my critique of practical reason, the noumenal world is the realm of ultimate moral truths, where ideas such as perfect justice, the alignment of virtue with happiness, and the highest good are realized. In the phenomenal world, justice is imperfect, and happiness is not always distributed in proportion to virtue. The noumenal world provides the foundation for the moral hope that these ideals will ultimately be fulfilled. The idea of God serves as the necessary unifying principle that guarantees this moral order. Thus, while I cannot claim theoretical knowledge of God's existence, I affirm God as a moral postulate, a rational necessity for those who embrace the demands of morality.
So to summarize, the noumenal world is the foundation of everything, but it is forever beyond our direct grasp.
Precisely. The noumenal world is the ground of all appearances, the realm where freedom, morality, and ultimate reality reside. It humbles us by revealing the limits of our knowledge, while inspiring us to live as moral agents who transcend the phenomenal world. Though we cannot know the noumenal directly, its presence is felt in our moral duties, our sense of freedom, and our aspirations for truth and justice. It is the mysterious yet essential backdrop of all human existence.
Do you believe humanity will ever transcend the limits of phenomena and grasp the noumenal?
A question worthy of a philosopher's soul. Humanity's finite nature binds us to phenomena. However, through reason, morality, and beauty, we come closer to glimpsing the contours of the noumenal world. Perhaps in some higher state of existence, what some might call an afterlife or the ultimate realization of our rational nature, we might engage with it more directly. Until then, we must live with humility, knowing our limits, and with hope, striving to fulfill our moral vocation.
Herr Kant, let us turn our attention to Earth itself and the matter that composes it. How does the material world relate to the noumenal realm?
A thought-provoking inquiry. The material world, the Earth, its elements, and all physical objects is part of the phenomenal realm. It is what we perceive through our senses and understand through scientific laws, such as causality and natural forces. However, matter, like all phenomena, must have a noumenal basis. That is, the appearances we describe as matter arise from some underlying reality in the noumenal realm. Yet, we cannot say what this noumenal reality is in itself. We only know how it appears to us, shaped by the structures of our mind.
If the material world is only an appearance, what ensures its stability and coherence?
Excellent question. The stability and coherence of the material world are grounded in the a priori principles of our understanding. For example, causality ensures that events follow a predictable order. Space and time provide a framework in which objects and events are situated. These principles are not properties of the noumenal world, but of the human mind's way of organizing sensory input. The material world is stable because our cognitive faculties consistently apply these principles to the raw data of experience. The noumenal realm provides the raw material, so to speak, but the phenomenal coherence comes from the workings of our mind.
But is there any interaction between matter in the phenomenal world and the noumenal world?
Interaction is not the correct term, as it implies a causal relationship. which belongs solely to the phenomenal realm. Instead, we should think of the phenomenal world as a manifestation of the noumenal. Matter, as we perceive it, is the appearance of some underlying noumenal reality. However, the noumenal does not cause the phenomenal in a way we can comprehend. The relationship is more like that of a shadow to its object. The shadow is dependent on the object, but the object's full nature is not revealed by the shadow.
What about Earth as a living, dynamic system? Does its complexity bring us closer to understanding the noumenal?
The complexity of Earth, its ecosystems, geological processes, and interdependencies is indeed awe-inspiring. It invites us to reflect on the teleological, purposeful organization we observe in nature. In my critique of judgment, I explore this idea extensively. While the Earth appears to have a kind of order or purpose, this is not proof of any inherent noumenal purpose. Instead, it reflects how our minds interpret and impose teleology onto the natural world. For example, we perceive ecosystems as systems because our minds are inclined to see order in relationships. The laws of physics and biology appear purposeful because they conform to the a priori structures of our cognition. Yet the noumenal basis of this order remains a mystery. We cannot claim that the Earth has an intrinsic noumenal purpose, though we might interpret it as such from the phenomenal perspective.
Could this interpretation suggest that life itself, as seen on Earth, might bridge the phenomenal and noumenal worlds?
Life is indeed a fascinating phenomenon. Living beings, particularly humans, exhibit characteristics that seem to hint at something beyond the purely mechanical. For instance, humans act according to moral laws, which I argue stem from our noumenal freedom. The intricacy of living systems suggests a form of organization that transcends mere mechanistic explanation, even if we cannot definitively claim it points to a noumenal cause. Life may thus serve as a symbol or analogy for the interplay between the phenomenal and noumenal. In humans particularly, our moral sense reminds us that we are not merely phenomenal beings bound by causality, but also noumenal beings capable of freedom and autonomy.
Could Earth itself, as a home to such complexity, hold a special place in the noumenal realm?
A provocative idea. While the Earth is undeniably special as the cradle of life and rational beings, its significance lies primarily in the phenomenal realm. It is where we, as rational agents, exercise our moral freedom and strive to fulfill the demands of the categorical imperative. In the noumenal realm, distinctions like Earth or cosmos lose their meaning, as these are phenomenal concepts tied to space and time. However, the moral actions of rational beings on Earth, actions guided by freedom and duty, may resonate within the noumenal order, though we cannot fathom how.
One last question then. Does Earth's beauty or grandeur offer any insight into the noumenal?
Beauty, as I describe in my critique of judgment, arises from the harmonious interplay of our faculties of imagination and understanding. When we perceive Earth's grandeur, its mountains, oceans, and starry skies, we experience a sense of the sublime, which transcends mere sensory enjoyment. This feeling hints at something beyond the phenomenal world. The sublime reflects our ability to conceive of the infinite and the unconditioned, ideas that belong to the noumenal realm. Though beauty and sublimity do not reveal the noumenal directly, they inspire us to ponder its existence and our place within it. Thus, the Earth, in its beauty and majesty, serves as a symbol of the noumenal, reminding us of the limits of our understanding and the infinite mystery beyond.
Thank you, Herr Kant. This has been a most enlightening conversation.
The pleasure is mine, TNG. May your reflections on Earth and its connection to the noumenal deepen your appreciation for the wondrous interplay of reason, morality, and nature.
Kant sought to address the divide between rationalism, reason as the primary source of knowledge, and empiricism, experience as the primary source of knowledge. He argued that knowledge arises from a combination of sensory experience, empirical data, and innate structures of the mind, a priori concepts. Our minds actively shape our experience of reality, meaning we can only know things as they appear to us, phenomena, and not as they are in themselves, the noumena. This insight, known as the Copernican revolution in philosophy, shifted the focus from the world as an independent reality to the conditions of human cognition. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I will be back with episode 10 soon. It's goodbye for now.
Determining the greatest human thinker that has ever lived is indulgent comment to define greatness.
Greatness in thinking, breadth of impact, the nature of one's ideas, philosophy, science, politics, and art. Newton and Einstein, Socrates, Confucius and Kant, Da Vinci and Goethe. Scientific minds, philosophical minds, creative polymaths. The debate. Immanuel Kant. Philosophical mind. The divide between rationalism and empiricism. Newton and Einstein, Socrates, Confucius and Kant, Da Vinci and Goethe. Scientific minds, philosophical minds, creative polymath. The debate. Scientific minds, philosophical minds, creative polymaths. The debate.
TNG, breakingreality.com.